our community have started seeing the benefits of proper representation. There are two kinds of representations. You have what you call bad representation and good representation. So because of good representation in the Vieille-Case constituency, and with everybody reunifying themselves together as one body, we call ourselves the children of Itasi. And that is the cardinal name for our community. Now, if we are children of Itasi, we cannot continue living in a community that is not united. For we all know, united we stand, divided we fall. So if unity is what we need to make Vieille-Case work, we need to come together and let us concentrate on community building. It is good for us to build ourselves, but we cannot think only of ourselves and leave our community behind, because when the community develops, every single person in the community develops. So this afternoon, we are going to witness an event which we all will be pleased with. You remember before, when we used to come to Vieille-Case, we had what you call Day 2S, and it was like a waggling snake coming down to Vieille-Case. Today, when you reach down Gommier, you can just come straight down to Vieille-Case. And you have almost a free lane road coming from Gommier. So what is going to happen, we're going to do the balance of the road from Gommier to Thibault in two phases. But phase one will be from Gommier to Zabwiko, and we will have two contractors signing here this afternoon to undertake the project. And those of us who drive that road, we will need to have some patience, because there is no development without inconvenience. Some people will feel inconvenience. If you think there's a problem and you can't pass there, under good representation, the back road to Penville was opened. We never break ground and didn't do it, but it was completed and motorable. So you have two ways in and out of Vieille-Case now. So if one is under construction, to avoid any inconvenience to yourself, it might be easier to go for Penville and allow the work to go, because at the end of the day, each and every one of us are the ones going to enjoy it. As chairman of the Vieille-Case Village Council, I am very proud of the representation that we have. We have had representations before, but the last good representation before this one, I can remember we had, was the one of Mr. John Rui, and then Mr. Alexis Williams to a certain extent. But the two people who have done most in Vieille-Case as parliamentary representative is Mr. John Rui and our present Prime Minister have done more. And is continuing to do plenty, because he's not going nowhere. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to welcome each and every one of you. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the afternoon with your parliamentary representative.
In the case of the Blenheim-Thibault Junction to Delaford-Penville Main Road, which traverses the community of Vieille-Case, improvements of this section of road, measuring 14.6 kilometers, is progressing satisfactorily. To date, 13 kilometers, representing 89% of this road length, has been completely rehabilitated. However, there still remains approximately 1.6 kilometers requiring rehabilitation. This includes approximately 400 meters at Delaford, Penville, and some 1.2 kilometers from Gommier to Thibault. Today's contract signing ceremony. Two contractors from the community of Vieille-Case, namely Gregory Massicott and Francis Alex George, will sign individual contracts valued at $271,328.13 each for the rehabilitation of 200 meters or 656 feet, bringing the total length to be rehabilitated to 400 meters or 1,312 feet. The works will include preparation of a well-compacted granular base, construction of a 15 centimeters or 16 inches thick by 6 meters or 19 plus feet with BRC fiber reinforced concrete pavement, construction of 600 millimeters or 2 feet wide slipper drains on both sides, and other road improvement works. It is anticipated that each contract will take approximately 5 weeks to complete. Recommendations. I wish to advise the contractors that the contract values includes work specification, and the Ministry of Public Works, along with the Council, will undertake frequent supervision of these works to ensure that this project is implemented in accordance with the required specification, budget, and time. We have a contract sum, so please monitor your finances closely. Safety is also equally important. Therefore, we cannot compromise signage and other alert measures in order to notify and protect the traveling public. Let me, on behalf of our Minister, Senator Miriam Blanchard, our Permanent Secretary, and other staff of the Ministry of Public Works and Ports, express our gratitude to the Honorable Prime Minister for making the funds available to undertake this project. Thank you, and we look forward to a successful completion within the next 5 weeks.
I first want to thank the Council for its cooperation, because what this government has been doing over the years is to utilize the services of the councils across Dominica to facilitate government activities. As we speak, we may have about $17 million with councils across Dominica to effect various community projects on behalf of the country, on behalf of the government of Dominica. And in Vieille-Case case, we continue to work with you on a number of fronts, whether it's small business or housing or roads. But we're here now to speak about the roads, and as Mr. Luis indicated, the total contract sum is $542,000, which is the completion of the Blenheim to Vieille-Case main road. Once that section is completed, then we will start the second section, that is from Flore, Zabico, down to the bridge in Tibo. And of course, we have the estimates ready for that. We felt that we don't want to do everything at one time and create a traffic problem. So let's do it by sections. Once that section is completed, we will move towards that last section in Tibo. In addition to that, we have signed a contract for the Delaford section that you spoke about, where we call OGEN. That entire road contract has been signed to the tune of about $386,000. Next week, we will sign the contract for the retaining wall at Ocean, where there's a major landslide, and that contract should be signed by next week with the Ministry of Public Works. We'll also be reinstating the double surface dressing on the Gillett Penville Road. That will be replaced with 6-inch concrete, and that will be done on a phased basis so as not to interrupt traffic. But if we go back some years ago, and those of us who are old enough to remember 2000 when I became the parliament, every single road in this constituency was in a bad shape. Every single road. You know, back in the days, if you ask somebody to ride from Vieille-Case to Amber, the person would not want to give you a ride because the road was so bad. Now, if you ask somebody to ride to Penville, the person will be glad to drop you with Penville because the road is in good condition. So we have spent significant sums of money improving the infrastructure in this community and, of course, the wider constituency. I mean, you name it, we have been able to improve on these roads and so forth. Recently, we completed the Tirabin Road, We reinstated the entire road. We built road in Kako for the farmers, and I'm hoping that the farmers can utilize the lands and make use of the investments that we put in there. Even down to the tourism center, we've improved the access because it was too muddy for people walking to the beach and tourists coming in. So we have to elevate the standards there. We have funds to build the road going to the Church of Christ that has now been surfaced. We have to replace the pipes with Duasco, and then we'll resurface the roads. We have funds for that already. So the intention there is to reinstate or to build all the roads in this constituency by the end of 2017. Every single road in the entire constituency will be redone by the end of 2017. Do we have the funds for these projects? We do have the funds for these projects. And I have consulted with the Minister of Finance, and he's indicated that those funds will be available. But I want to say to the contractors that we need to ensure that we recognize diligence. The works must be done properly and to the satisfaction of the Ministry of Public Works. After all, this is our road. It is not Skerry's road. It is our road. It's not government road. It is our road. Because if the road is bad, we all will be driving on the bad road. If it's improved, we'll all be making good use of it. So we have to take ownership of these investments which the government is making. Because at the end of the day, these investments are being made to make life better for all of us. Not for a few, but for all of us. So I'm hoping that the contractors will do the job properly, that they will recognize the good construction practices, that the terms and conditions of the contracts are adhered to, because if it is not to the quality and standard, then I will certainly say so. Because every dollar we spend as a government, we must spend it properly and to the satisfaction of the majority of our citizens. Of course, there are other investments and we'll have other opportunities to speak about them. But I wanted to be here this afternoon in a public ceremony to sign these two contracts. There will be two additional contracts on that section of the road which will be signed later on. One is a retaining wall. Two local contractors will benefit from these contracts. One is a retaining wall just in the area of Bernard Paul's home. There's a failure there and we have the designs and the costings for that. And also the complete reinstatement of the road from the main road all the way to the home of Alpha Massicot. And the estimates are in there. We did not have time to prepare the contractors to sign these two, but there will be two additional contracts, and two local contractors will be engaged to build those two pieces of infrastructure. So there's a significant sum of monies that have been spent in this constituency, in this village in particular, to the benefit of our contractors. As you know, we've tried our best to use as many contractors as possible, and to spread the bread, as they say, whether it's in the construction of roads or drainage or washrooms. We've tried our best to utilize a wide cross-section of the community, at least those who are interested, to be engaged in those works. In the case of, for example, in the case of Tiraven, we have used, what, three different contractors, just to ensure that as many people benefit from the investments being made. So we are very happy to be here, and I'm happy that the government has been able to make those funds available. Those funds, I've been advised, are in the council, $542,000 with the council. It might be 585 or 5, but 5 something, 500, at least 542,000 is with the council. So the money is there to complete the entire section of that road to the satisfaction of our people. And the monies for the road by the Church of Christ is also with the council. And I will speak to the Small Business Assistance Program when we have that ceremony in the next few minutes. So I want to thank you for your patience, because we all have commented on the road from time to time when it deteriorates with potholes and so forth. But as the saying goes, Rome was not built in a day, but it was built anyway. So piece by piece, we will build it, because one has to understand that there are so many needs and demands that if you have $100,000, you have to now apportion it properly to ensure that as many people can benefit from it as possible. Because, as I tell people, I'm the Minister of Finance. I am solely responsible for approving funds for various programs and projects. But I cannot not take the country in totality and look solely about my constituency. We have 21 constituencies and many villages, and therefore we have to ensure that the resources of the state are made available to a wide cross-section of society as possible. But I want to say to you, the residents of Vieille-Case, I've always said to you, that the more organized we are, the more things we can see happen in our community. And I am very happy for the level of togetherness that presently exists in the village. And as a result of that, we are seeing more and more things that are happening in the community. And I'm exceptionally impressed with the approach that we have taken with the small business support, and your response and your seriousness towards the program, in my mind, has been exemplary. And I said to my cabinet colleagues today that we need to share with the rest of them the template that we have created here in respect to the small business program. But we're here now on the roads, and I'm very happy to be here, and I look forward to the construction and completion of these roads. We have decided, based on consultation with a number of villagers, to utilize the concrete instead of the asphalt. And for many reasons. The concrete is much more long-lasting. If it is damaged for some reason or the other, we can fix it ourselves. We don't have to rely on the Ministry of Public Works to send a truck of asphalt to patch the roads. Because I know some people have, in some communities, people have a particular view about asphalt and concrete. They think asphalt is much superior than concrete. And I always keep telling them that I see concrete roads in the United States, the richest country in the world. You know, when you drive from Miami or from New York, they're concrete roads. So people have this view about concrete roads, but for me, give me a concrete road anytime. And we've seen, I mean, these village roads have been constructed since 2002, and they're still going strong. Dominica also comes and cuts it, and we fix it ourselves. So the concrete roads are much more longer lasting, and we're using a very thick surface of 6 inches with RBC. BRC, and so we're gonna have a road for a very long time. So that down the road, we do not have an issue of maintenance. So and what the NEP people are doing is fantastic, from blending all the way back to Delaphone in keeping the grass down and planting flowers. And so you can see I always keep telling people that planting flowers and keeping a place clean will bring a sense of pride and a sense of attractiveness to a community. And for me, it is very, very pleasing that when I get to Blenheim and have to drive through my constituency, how beautiful it is. And I wish that, and my hope and prayer is that the rest of the country can take that responsibility. And I really want to commend the residents of Vieille-Case in particular for the manner in which you have been conducting yourselves in respect to garbage disposal and garbage management. Because everybody believes that they just have to put their stuff on the side of the road or in front of their home for the government to come and pick up. And then we have rats and cockroaches building up. And these things will bring diseases to us. And so I think, we have to continue this. There's a location down in OPAC, in Ravin, that we need to control, because there's some garbage collection there. That has to stop. So we have to meet with the residents there, Chairman of the council, and let us keep it at our homes. When we hear the truck blowing, then we'll bring our stuff out. And so that the entire community of Vieille-Case can be exemplary in terms of garbage management and garbage disposal. And of course, with the eradication of pit latrines, you know, we have set ourselves a very ambitious goal of eradicating pit latrines in Dominica by 2070. We're well on our way to doing that, and in an extraordinary manner. I don't think anywhere in the world you have anybody paying such attention to details. I have in my office the names of everybody in Dominica who needs a washroom. And I am systematically going about providing the resources to eradicate them. You know, to eradicate them. I've been criticized by some for this program, but I leave them to another higher authority to deal with. But I have been in recent time to homes of individuals who have benefited from this, and you can see the manifested difference in their whole outlook, you know, and those who receiving them are certainly grateful for it. Now we cannot force a washroom on somebody. It's an offer. If the person doesn't want it, then too bad for you. But we're not discriminating against anybody, whether it's political or religious issues. Everybody who needs one, we're offering to them, subject to they're willing to accept it. So this is what we're seeking to do. So I really want to thank you, Chairman, thank the councillors, the clerk. You know, we always want to recognize the clerk with extraordinary efforts. And for Mr. Dwight Reese, who has been very, very helpful in preparing the contracts. Today, when I called him yesterday afternoon, I said, look, we need to sign the contracts tomorrow. And I was told in half an hour's time he's ready to be there any time on Thursday to assist with the signing of his contracts. Just to say, you know, there's much talk about, everybody knows about CBI and CBI. Just to continue the discussion on CBI, the entire sum of money is coming from the CBI for this road and so on. So this is this source of funds is from the CBI, and I can tell you I just got back to the country on the week on Tuesday after an extensive trip in Asia and the Middle East, promoting our CBI, because I as the Minister of Finance know better than most how critical and important these funds are to our country at this time. Because none of us here, including myself, want to pay tax. And I tell people publicly all the time, I make noise in the government every time for how much tax they charge me, you know. I think they overcharging me in tax, you know. So I really don't want to pay more tax, you know. And then it is an important source of what they call non-tax revenue, understand? And we utilize it for very good reasons. So I want to congratulate the contractors. And as I said, there'll be 2 more contracts that will be signed maybe by next Thursday for the other sections of the road, and also for the one up by Majerville, the Church of Christ. And I'm not sure if there are any other roads. I don't think there are any other roads besides maybe Opak, or maybe going Diamond, O2, Pali, some. Yeah. Some have, some have spoken about, I know some have spoken about Pali. Part of the challenge of Pali is that it is traversing people's private property. And we would have to engage the private landowners. Though you have a right of passage because it's a historical access, but notwithstanding the fact that it's on somebody's land, and it is cutting through almost the middle of the person's land, and therefore you have to engage the landowner before the government goes and build those roads and so on. We've been discussing, and maybe after we've done the main roads, we will look at do not rule out we're taking the road all the way to Diamond. You know, so we're looking at that to create access to the farmlands and also the tourism potential in this area. We have also done the first section of the Gombe Road from by Mishme, go back, and the intention is to take it from there and take it back to Tibo. The connecting road to Tibo, up there, to open up possible housing lots there, agricultural lots, and the potential for tourism. But again, my final point on farm roads is that farmers and non-farmers always complain about farm roads. They want farm roads and farm roads. And the government goes and spends millions of dollars on farm roads and farm roads. And the people who are saying, if you build the roads, we're going to farm and not farming. And therefore, when the government places these investments, it's important for us to take advantage of it, because it's of no value to anybody if the roads are built and nobody is making use of that investment. Because it is an investment, it's a major investment, so I'm hoping that we can take advantage of it.